Sanger again from Horsepower Inc. So we've recently installed one of our V2 air cleaner assemblies onto this 2017 Dyna Street Bob. You can also get an additional component. It's sold separately. It's our external breather system. And it can be put right along with this when you order it as a unit, or you can get it individually, separate down the road. This may or may not work with some other kits on the market, but it has to be used with a flat backplate assembly. Guaranteed it works with all of our stuff, no problem. So what you get when you order the kit, you're going to get some vacuum line, the external breather assemblies themselves, and 4 O-rings. So when you get these out of the package, some people always ask us, well, how are you supposed to tighten these things down because there's nowhere to get a hold of it at? So, as you can see, the spacer here is a separate piece from this stainless steel insert. And then this button head fastener that goes with it, you'll thread it in a couple threads, push the unit apart. There is an O-ring that is on the inside of the spacer that helps seal the unit off internally from everything else. So there will be some resistance on that when you're putting this together, as well as disassembling it. So now that we got all of our pieces laid out for the external breather kit, we're going to go ahead and disassemble the air cleaner assembly. On our V2, if you've run the plain cover, there is no front fastener for this, so the outer cover will actually spin off. So you just grab a hold of it, lefty-loosey, pop that off. If you're running one of our other decorative covers, there'll be a center screw, or if you run a no cover just like this, you don't have to worry about it. So then we'll get a 5/32 Allen. Keep pressure on the faceplate as the last one comes out so you don't drop it. You can pull the faceplate and filter off as one unit. You'll take one of the previous countersunk fasteners, lightly thread it into the faceplate, and that will be your faceplate removal tool if you can't get it out. From this point, we're going to lift up on the velocity stack, get it out of the way, and now we've exposed all of our other fasteners. It does make it easier if you're at this point. Go ahead and bust the 3 fasteners loose from the back plate to the throttle body. But I'm not going to fully remove them yet. And we'll get our 9/16 socket, get our breather bolts out of the way because we're going to be replacing these. Bolt comes out, spacer comes out. Move on to the other side. And leaving 3 bolts in place just gives it an extra set of hands so you're not trying to fumble around with everything. So now we're going to start installing the external breather system onto the side. So after we've already separated all the pieces for them, you'll grab one of the threaded stainless steel inserts. You will see that there is a hex machined on to the stainless steel piece. That's what you will use to actually tighten it down. There is a groove right here on the front side of it that has one of the small O-rings that will go in it. This one I've already put on, so you can kind of see what that looks like. O-ring, go over the threaded piece. You kind of get started with your finger. If you can push in all the way, or you can take the back side of that 9/16 socket, give it a little press. Seats it right in there. So from this point, we'll take both of those stainless inserts. You're going to use red Loctite on these. Put you a couple drops on it. Grab your socket. Install them into the head breather ports. The reason we use red Loctite on these fasteners is because when it comes time to service anything on this, the two bolts that will be attaching the back plate to these breather units will have blue on them. When you go to back these off, if you do not have an adequate amount of torque or red Loctite on these inserts, it will actually spin the whole unit out and come off as one piece, which makes it a little bit more difficult to get everything separated if you have to get them separated. So that's why we use red on these. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our spacers. Take the other two larger O-rings that come in the kit, install them into the grooves, like so. And then we will slide these on to the units. The little small nipple that's hanging out the bottom of the spacer will go towards the head. And there is some tension on it because there is a large internal O-ring inside this spacer. And that O-ring is in there to seal any sort of oil mist that is coming through here from seeping out between the spacer and the stainless insert. And then just aim them down. So now we're ready to reinstall our back plate. We have our gasket in place, a drop of Loctite on our fasteners from the back plate to the face of the throttle body. Our external breathers and spacers are in place. Go ahead and grab our 3/16 Allen. Once again, we're just going to start these by hand. Everything's lined up exactly how we need it. So now we will take the two larger button heads. They're 7/32 Allen, and we will start them. Remember, we got blue on these. Now we can snug these down. Just make sure that the breathers are aiming down like you want them to. Snug it up. Velocity stack now go back in place. Face plate can be reinstalled. Filter assembly and front plate will fall back into place. Now we got everything snugged up here, we're going to go ahead and grab our face plate. And if you ordered it any other way, there will be a center mounted screw, or if you get it with no cover, but the plain covers will spin on. Just snug it up, because the tension on the screw as well as the rubber portion off the air filter will help lock that in place. So now that we got this in place, we'll go ahead and grab our rubber hoses. You will get 2 of them, and then they will slide on to the external breathers. And then from this point, you can route them however you want. Some people will route them down towards the front of the motor, some bring them back and down by the oil fill if you need to. What we like to do is actually run them between the cylinders, and out the other side. And then pull the slack through. Once over here, we'll take them, route them down between the engine case and the inner primary. Which allows the hoses to just vent downward atmospherically.